Check 1 2, check 1 2. Give it about 40 seconds. It was about 50 seconds delay there. So you got something going on at Panera. I guess they're not rolling in the dough because it would have been faster, huh? Yeah, I think I'm on camera 1. Here I'll intersect 2 cameras. Check 1 2, check 1 2. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. I can hear Izzy, I think. All right, I'm good. Can you see me okay? I'm on you see me now? All right. All right, I'm going now. You must eat. Okay, do you want me to I mean, should I just be able to go to YouTube and click on the link to see it, right? Jamie's got a tablet back in his office. All right. Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
think that I don't need them. I'm testing, testing. 1, 2. How's everyone today? Okay. I'm happy to be here with you today. I'm going to try to navigate the lavalier instead. I don't generally like to stand behind the podium. I like to be able to talk to my audience. So let's see how this works. How about? All right, the future of higher education in KCKCC. Okay, all right. So the first thing that we need to talk about is funding. And with this presentation, I am not going to stand here and talk to you for very long, but I want to try to run through some things that are on the horizon in higher education. So funding. When we talk about funding, as time goes by, we will receive fewer and fewer dollars from various government entities. And so that is not just from institutional standpoint, but also from a student standpoint. And so what do we do to try to find, seek, or secure funding? We must become adept at finding federal grants to help supplant our programs and support others, foundation grants, and occupational associations. So when I talk about occupational associations, I'm going to give you a good example. If you have membership, let's say in a welding association, there may be scholarships there that are available to students. Bring it forward. Why? Because you may be the only person on this campus that knows it. Okay? When we talk about funding, even if you don't have the expertise to write the grant, bring it to the table. Bring it to your dean. Bring it to someone so that we can help you and make sure that we're able to put that on the forefront and on the table for our students. So, scholarship money. In higher education, because dollars have become scarce in some areas, we're going to continue to try to do internal campaigns and things of that nature. It's great for us to donate to our institution. I will use myself as an example. I am currently in my 5th year of being a 1% contributor. I don't expect everyone to do that. I do that because it shows a level of support for my campus community. I believe in the job that we do. So, funding in higher education is one. Technology is the next area of higher education that the future is going to focus on. Our students get the world brought to them. How? Not through television anymore, but through those phones, those smartphones. So the students already know about resources that we can only dream of. So it is incumbent upon us as higher education institutions to make sure that we actually help them with that world. How do we do that? By teaching them about various sources, by helping them with programs such as cybersecurity. This is one of those programs that would help our students to be ready for the future. Why? Because as we all utilize the internet, we all know that it is attacked daily. Why? Because we get those little notices from the bank that say, "You the one at the gas station using this." We get those little notices that where they're asking us to buy something, and we don't even know who these people are. And it looks like it's really and truly a valid act, or it looks like it's actually from our company. Another thing is when we talk about technology, making sure that we have apps, campus applications. Our students do just about everything through some type of app. If they don't have enough room on their phones, those apps, it's time for them to get a new phone. That's what they do. And some of us do that too. So when we talk about technology, technology is also the thing that is helping us to break down the barriers of those that are working in the field, because they're not able to leave the job. With online courses, we're able to remove some of those barriers. Now, can we do everything online? Not everything, not all at once, right? But we're going to go ahead and keep moving forward with that technology as it continues to grow. Another thing is the area of hybrid courses, having the best of both worlds, meaning that 50% is in the classroom, 50% is online. I call that the best of both worlds. Why? Because when a student doesn't understand, I can see the furrowing of the brow. And that tells me, I need to go back over that particular objective. Maybe I didn't zero in on that one. But technology is something in higher education that is not going away. And since it's not going away, we might as well embrace it. So, talking about funding, technology, all of those things are great, but knowing our community is the best. So, asking these questions, what do we want to know? What does our community need? What industry will help support our program? What industry will promise us jobs for our students upon graduation? What industry will provide some funding? These are things that we need to know. We're in a great community. This particular slide is from the Greater Area Chamber of Commerce. You'll notice it says that openings exceed hires, and the gap is increasing. So here we're talking about quits are rising in line with hires as more workers easily find new jobs. So with that said, that means that they have some type of skill set. Over the past few days, I've had an opportunity to meet some nice folks in your community that have shared some things with me. And so when we have employees that are quitting and leaving one job, going to another, sometimes they need to be upskilled. We want to be the leader in upskilling those particular employees and potential employees. So with that said, something that they mentioned, because we're taking care of the hard skills right here, and they're using the hard skills to get jobs, employees are saying that they want soft skills. That's what they're looking for. So these are the things that we zero in right here while we have them as our captive audience. And what are they talking about when we talk about soft skills? Those industries are talking about work ethic. So you'll see that I have a list of work ethics. So attendance, character, teamwork, adherence, attitude, productivity, organizational skills, communication, cooperation, and respect. These are things that we have an opportunity of influencing with our students while they are here, while they're able to ask the tough questions that they might not otherwise ask in industry for fear of retaliation on the job. Because this is what we're supposed to be, the open, embrace institution. So look at some of these. So we would think ordinarily, you know that you need to attend and arrive on time. If you're going to be absent from class, especially if it's a planned absence, you would let someone know. Character displays loyalty, honesty, trustworthiness, dependability, reliability, all of these great adjectives. Teamwork. Number one would be respect the rights of others. So some things we think are common are not commonly known. We want to make sure that our students, once they graduate KCKCC, have that seal of approval on them, so that an industry leader can say, you know what, I'll take one of those students, or I'll take two of those students from that institution because I know that they have work and that they have the work ethic that I need. They may not have all of the skills that I want, but as long as they have the work ethic, what I'm hearing, we can work with them. So another area that is changing is dual enrollment. This is a part of the changing landscape of higher education, getting students to school much earlier so that they're in the workplace much earlier. With dual enrollment, we have an opportunity to actually impact the future in a greater manner because American workers will be able to be in the workforce for a longer period of time. If they should decide to exit early, they can exit earlier because they started their education early. Dual enrollment also gives us opportunities for those students that may not have as much funding as they need to get their four-year degree initially. So they might start out with a certificate in electronics, work in the area of electronics so that they can support themselves through school. This is the role of dual enrollment in higher education, or getting them there a little earlier to become that nurse. So how does that happen? Professional development. So our faculty and staff need constant professional development so that we're able to provide a world-class education for students right here at home, not a world away. So what does that look like? Professional development can look like varying sessions, such as PTSD sessions, because we need to understand that PTSD does not just affect our veterans. Anyone in society can be affected by PTSD. It's about going to matter. Cultural sensitivity is a professional development that we need to do at all levels. And when we talk about cultural sensitivity, understanding generations is a part of that. So within a classroom, you could have baby boomer, have Gen X, you could have millennial. They're different communications. You have millennials who have never known a world without computers. And because there are those that have known a world without computers, there's a different level of thinking. And so we have to be able to bridge those. Work-life balance is another set of sessions that we need to host. Why? Because we're all human. We get tired. We get burned out. Human resources can help working with work-life balance. Understanding time management skills so that we have time to grade those papers, to see the ball game, to actually help with the church. All of those things are a part of professional development. Professional development is not just about our professional lives, but it is also about our personal. Because when we have happiness in our personal lives, or we have learned how to balance our lives, then that makes us more productive. So, in the final analysis, at KCKCC and in higher education period, we want to make sure that education equals employment. What is the good in going to school and not being able to find a job? It makes one hopeless, right? It would for me, and I know it would for our students as well. So we want to make sure that we have viable programs through programmatic review and accreditation on our programs so that our students are more than gainfully employed. They fit with our community to the point where if they want to walk out of one door and into another to get another. So, as I stated in the beginning, this is not all about me. It's about you. And so I want to give you an opportunity if you want to talk about any of these. So if you have questions. Why Kansas City? Well, I was introduced to this particular area when I worked as an adjunct at Indiana Wesleyan University. And had not been to the state prior to that, and had an opportunity to come here, and I always said if I had an opportunity to go to work. And it's reminiscent of the area where I grew up. We had a family. So growing up, going back and forth between my granddad's city and then going back to the suburban area, it's just like. I currently work with dual enrollment and have for quite some time. We are allowed to credential those high school teachers that meet the credentialing status for the college. We credential them, but we start them out with a mentor. And in so doing, you have a faculty mentor and same curriculum that we have. And so that has helped. Initially, when I started with dual enrollment, I would send my full-time faculty members out there to teach a class, to teach a class, so that students would feel like they were receiving the same level of education. But as time has gone by, of the mentoring program, they are receiving the same level of education just from the high school instruction. And it is done before school. Of course, has to be held before school, during their lunch period, or after, so that they are not. So right now, we have some parents that don't want their students to go through an occupational program. So I have a program for that, and it's called Early College Ascent. So those students are able to get their English 1101, their college algebra, their psychology, or American government all out of the way before they graduate. And then the parents that want their students to go through the occupational areas, students are able to become nurse aides, certified nurse aides. They're able to get a welding certificate. They're able to get a mechatronics certificate. And there are a few that are working in criminal justice.
Hello. Oh, my name is
Okay.
Ilya Shaw. I'm the student senate president here. And so, speaking to dual enrollment specifically, I know that some students on our campus that are from high schools come here directly, but I know that when I did dual enrollment, I sat in my classroom. And so, do you see a benefit in more students coming on campus, or do you think it's better for them to stay in that original environment, or maybe a little bit of both?
A little bit of both is great. It depends on transportation. You know, it costs us something to transport students back and forth. If a student has their own transportation, it's not a problem. But when we have students that don't have transportation to get here, it's great for us to be able to offer it at high school. So both ways, as long as students get the education.
Dr. Thornton, we had a question come in from online, and the question is, what do you expect your working relationship with Dr. Mosier to look like?
That particular relationship is one where I support his administration. So if he's working with an industry partner, making sure that I rally the deans and we make sure that we have a type of campus tour of that area that interests them, making sure that they're able to see the curriculum. But by and large, the main thing is to make sure that we support the administration for the good of our students.
Good morning. I'm a faculty member here, and you mentioned program review in your presentation. Could you talk a little bit about what you see that look like, or how you use it in your current institution?
Programmatic review is something that is necessary for us because we need data-driven decision making. And so I like to use metrics right now, such as when was the last time a student graduated from the program? How many students are enrolled in the program? Are they making satisfactory academic progress? Another thing is looking at the data of finding out whether or not they are, when they graduate, or if we have students that have graduated from that program, where they are. Are they placed in field or are they out of the field? So there are lots of metrics that we need to use, and it's great when it's a program that has an outside programmatic accrediting body, because we have to do lots of reaffirmation with that, digging in on those.
Hi, I'm Barbara Clark Evans with the Intercultural Center. Could you tell us how would you characterize your leadership style?
Okay. I would characterize my leadership style as collaborative. So I like working with others and bringing others.
Hi, my name is Andrika Wilcox, and I'm the Director of Student Activities here. What is your personal mission statement? Do you by chance have one?
Personal mission statement?
Yes, your personal mission statement.
My personal mission statement is I am not responsible for how you treat me, but I am responsible for how I treat you. And that's my. So that kind of guides everything that I do. So I don't allow anyone to change who I am as a person. And when I say as a person, not learning something, but as a person on a personal level, making sure that I use the compass that I have to do what's daily. Well, first of all, I don't believe in silos on a campus. So my co-workers, Dr. Wilson is over there, we would work hand in hand for the betterment of. So for one thing, when student government meets, they will allow us. And I currently go to some of the student government meetings. And also work with those first-year students, making sure that we're working hand in hand together for the betterment of the students, because they need to kind of feel a hug from campus when they get here so that they want to be here. Remember, we're a volunteer organization. So we need to do everything that we can to make them feel welcome. And that takes us working together as a team. So it's a team as a whole, not just the academic affairs team or just the student affairs team. They've got all the nice shirts and all the nice goodies and everything. We work together so we all have those goodies and we're all welcome. So whether it is just us working with schedule, they know when students present what they're saying, whether or not they're saying, I need a night class in this particular area. They're hearing those things. We may or may not hear them. But if we're working together, we know it all, as far as that.
Hi, I'm on staff here. We are in a county that is becoming increasingly Hispanic, and we will soon be a Hispanic serving organization. I'm wondering, as VPAA here, what you will do to work together with staff to address the learning needs of Hispanic students and embrace their overall success.
I noticed that particular statistic when I looked at data on the institution and the area, and I was excited about it. I've been a grant reviewer with U.S. Department of Education for Hispanic serving institutions, so we're just about. So that means that there will be funding at some point. Those numbers come up, we can go after funding to support that initiative. Why? Because as I talked about professional development, that would be a type of professional development that we have, where we could bring someone in and we talk about Spanish for introduction. Because sometimes someone will present, and if you can just give them a few kind words so that you can get them calmed down until you can get the real expert to come in and be able to speak, that would help. And that would help both faculty and staff. So making sure that things are there, mentors and people of that nature working with student affairs, make sure that we're ready, willing, and able to meet that demand. And talking with the students, because the great thing is if you use students as your focus group, they understand and know what the problems and issues are. Most of the time they have we just have not. They want to be heard.
Morning. What are your thoughts about non-credit programs? We have on our campus continuing ed, community ed, which encompasses our adult ed, which is GED and ESL. So what are your thoughts and relationship experience?
Those particular areas are the greatest areas that we can recruit students in because they're here with us already. So while they're here with us, showing them what we have, what's at their disposal, will keep them moving towards graduation and that prize of actually getting their GED. Now, I have GED program now. It is actually the #1 GED program in the state. So prior to that, I worked in an 8-county service delivery area that had about 15 GED. And so I am familiar with it. As far as continuing ed or what we call economic development in Georgia, I worked hand in hand with that. Now, how does that work? When we are presented with an employer that says they need customized, and sometimes you'll have employers that say, I'm not sure whether I want customized training or whether I want a small certificate. So if it's presented to me first, I'll go out, talk with the person, but I always let my economic development VP know that I'm going out. So I need you to be on standby just in case. Because if they don't want to take the time to go through a semester or two for a certificate, then I'm going to need you to come on so we can talk about customization. So we kind of tag team it. So I see it as symbiotic relationship.
Hi, could you tell us about a situation if you had the opportunity to do it over that you would do?
I would honestly say, if I had over again, take Kansas, not work with Indiana when they were looking at it as much as I probably should have, but on a serious tip, we talked about doing a do-over. In my career, I have not really had. This has been so after leaving medical education and coming over to first K-12 so that I would understand the foundation, and then moving into higher ed.
most students may come in to the college undecided about what they want to do in future. And that may have them end up doing so many prerequisites which they will not use, which increases the cost of their education. How does your office engage with them to ensure that they are shaped early in time to know what they want to do, so that once they hit the road running, they come out of the college within the shortest time possible with something they can do in life?
Dr. Wilson, great. Students that are undecided, we do have Myers-Briggs or some type of strong interest survey for them. So the best thing for us to do from the classroom standpoint, when we find that, he has assured me that we do have that, is for those of us that are in the classroom to actually refer students or take students to the student affairs area so that we can do a strong, so that they can kind of channel what they want. The other thing is, on our end, making sure that we have something like a decision day, which is something that I used to have in place at a previous institution. But having a decision day, what does that look like? It looks like a high school probe fair, college. But instead, it's set up in a room much like this. With those programs, we start out introducing our students to those low enrollment programs where we have low numbers in those programs to see if we can build interest or if it will spark interest for our students who want to go into those particular. But there are multiple things. I understand where you're. Sometimes when we find students like that, we try to see if we have enough credit to get them a education. Mm-hmm. When we talk about first year, it's not that I can stand here and just tell you which company that we must have those students. Why? Because competencies will be different from institution to institution. We do that as campus-wide effort. We first survey to find out what is it that we see that our current students didn't understand coming in. So it causes us to have to get some data. So in order to do that, we're asking the tough questions and then quelling down those answers to figure out what we need students case to case. That's kind of where we are with that question. As far as the GED program, I have a director that I would say she is the head cheerleader in charge. She is so enthusiastic about the program until it's just overwhelming. When she walks into the room, she kind of lights everything up. And there are students that will become discouraged and you'll dial it down a notch or two, and she's able to calm them down and get it done. But then we have a whole team of that are taking care of along with them. So knowing where your passion is one thing. When you've got the right person, right job, and you have great.
Hello again. So during your presentation, you talked about embracing technology. And so my question for you would be, what's your opinion on ebook versus hard copy?
You said ebook versus hard copy text. Okay. So when we talk about OpenStax or open resources, which would be those new textbooks, the ebook bring down the cost of education for students, but only if students have the technological resources to be able to use them. The new thing is the open stack, which means that we have textbooks that you don't have to pay for. An ebook, you have to pay for to download. And these are great because your instructors have an opportunity to put their own touch on these particular textbooks. And so I think it's great because it reduces cost. But at the same time, if there's a student that needs that textbook because of their disabilities or what have you, or if it's just their learning style, then it should be at their. Do you have a preference? What's your preference? And see, you are in tune with your learning style, which is a great. So I always talk with instructors about when we use those online resources, making sure that we do have some hard copy resources. Why? Because we're not going to follow you home, but that textbook will become a resource for you.
What would your commitment be to this community, Wyandotte County? And then second, what kind of activities or do you have for you currently? What commitment do you have to that community?
Okay. When we talk about it, if I'm here with you, I'm all in. That's it. Bottom line, comes my community. This is why you hear me use our, we, us. Where I currently am, I serve as one of the founding members of our College and Career Academy, Chattahoochee, which is one of the 6. I also serve with Habitat for Humanity. Another thing that I do in that area is I volunteer with our GED students to just do regular, what I call interest. You know, it's one thing for them to be trying to make the different levels, but there's another to sit down with read. So those are just a few of the additions, providing support for Boys and Girls Club during the summer so that they're able to come, bring groups visit. And that's kind of it in a nutshell. I have been in Kiwanis and things. Mm-hmm. I am most proud of higher education, proud of the work that I've done with teacher accreditation. I've worked in places where the accrediting body was coming very shortly, and they were not ready or had not started at all. So I'm most proud of that, because that means, because of the work that I did with the teams that I led, there are students that are being educated in places that might have otherwise closed. So those are communities of families, students that I've had an impact many years. Whether they know my name or not, it doesn't matter. I know it.
Hi again. So in your doing your research on us, what do you see as the biggest opportunities for us, and how would you lead us through those opportunities?
I just think that this area is the cusp of what I would call great. You have a new leader. You are economically situated, a great position for your students with jobs, which is different from many of the communities in the country. Even though our economy kind of bounced back it still hasn't bounced back completely in all areas of the nation. And so I think that you're in a great position here, looking at different programs and things of that nature, such as cybersecurity. Great situated.
Any more questions?
Could you talk a little bit about what you've done in developmental education and increasing student success?
Did not hear that.
What you've done in the way of developmental education
Yes.
and increasing student success.
I will tell you, I always tell folks, I said, I did redesign when redesign wasn't cool. And so I have been a developmental education instructor myself, utilizing my reading specialist. And so working with students to have different exit points was one of the things that I really like doing with developmental education. I'll give you a good example. So the student, at one point we used competence as an exit point, as an exit tool. We use AccuPlacer a lot of places now. But you have students that might have missed the test by 1 point or 2 points. And when they retested, they still didn't make it. So all they needed was a little brush up. So instead of sitting through class the entire 50 period, I developed what I call the accelerated method. So those students could make their own decision. They'd have the option. Either you go the accelerated route, which means you'll be able to get out by the middle of the term or by B term. We let them get out if they pass just before B term so that they could sign up for an class. Make up at. So that worked. And I will tell you, the only thing that concerned me about it was every now and then you'd have a student that didn't make it. But if they didn't make it out, you reabsorb them into the regular class, kept moving.
We have a question over here, Dr. Thornton. To your left.
Okay.
Yes, I was wondering what information do you receive, whether it's departmental or software, in regards to information that you find most effective when receiving or finding the data you need to make informed decisions?
Okay. You said what level?
Like, what information do you rely on? Is it the department, or do you know what the department uses as far as the information for the data-driven information?
We use multiple measures for that. So you don't just look at one set of data and make the decision. So data could come from the department level, could be data from student evaluations, it could be data that comes from tests, it could be data from any number of sources. So it would not just be one set of data and then a snap decision. Look at multiple sources.
Any other questions?
Okay, so on a lighter side, but it's very something that's really important to, I guess, for at least student affairs. I'm going to put us out there. Is what is your opinion of participating in a dunk tank? I'm serious. Yeah, I mean, I asked Dr. Mosher too.
She said a dunk. Wow. Well, I tell you what, I've thrown a couple of balls at folks that were in a dunk tank, I'll say that. But you wouldn't want to drown your VPAA, would you? Nah, that would probably be during allergy season or something like that, you know.
I'm coming over to get you. Oh, hold on. They can't hear online, so.
They won't be able to hear you online.
This is my last question, I promise. I work in admissions, and we, we periodically throughout the year we'll do visits similar to, like you said, the visit day for college students currently here, undecided people. But we try to do it for high school students coming for campus visits. And generally speaking, we have great participation from our faculty colleagues, but not all the time. Can you speak to what kind of motivations you would give your faculty to make sure that they're participating in those visit days?
It's interesting that you mentioned that, because as you all speak, then I remember different things. I have a committee that is known as the Academic Recruit. Okay, and it is comprised of 50% student affairs, 50% academic. So where we had a break was that our faculty members would get an email maybe 2 days before, there's a group that's going to be through and blah, blah, blah. Got planned in my lab, have folks in while students are doing this. So because I already knew that student affairs had some type of calendar somewhere, I said, let's come together and put a calendar together between student affairs and academic affairs, so everybody's on the same page and we know when these things are coming up. And not only that, let's have volunteers. So that's really how we've been able to do it. And then coming back and reconvening ever so often. And every time that calendar is updated, then everybody's getting. And so it's gotten to be where we have so many emails till I finally said, let's just put this out on the X drive. And so that X drive is our shared drive at the institution. And I said, let's put that out there and let's just put something in the newsletter so that everybody knows that it's been updated and it also becomes part of it. So it's just give and take and working with it. It's not that faculty don't want to participate. It's just that they have things that are already scheduled and they're paramount. Believe me, they want to support you. Okay.
Hi again. So I have 2 questions. First, can you talk a little bit about your philosophy of shared governance? And second, can you talk a little bit about your experience working with the Faculty Association?
All right. My philosophy of shared governance is we're better with all of us. So that's it in a nutshell. But actually work to do that. So I've worked in institutions where the faculty did not have a voice. And so my job was to actually go in and act as a liaison, walking that tightrope between faculty liaison and working with the president. And so actually convinced the president that we needed an academic council. And so because the academic council didn't look like just what it sounds like, it also has 40 from every other area on the campus. So student affairs is represented, economic development is represented, adult education or GED is represented, operations is represented. Why? So that all of those faculty representatives get to hear from the different quadrants on the campus so that we understand each other if we're sitting at the same table. So that's kind of my little bit about that. And working with faculty, I generally have faculty meetings, campus-wide faculty meetings, even if some are at different locations, kind of string them in so that we get that done. And visiting your division meeting. So that's something else that I like.
We are out of time for this forum, but we will reconvene at 11 o'clock, the faculty forum. So I'm sorry if we didn't get to ask. We ran out of time. It was a great discussion. Thank you so much, Dr. Morton.
And thank you all.